This is massive news, guys. Pope Francis, aged 88, has literally died on Easter Monday. Now, whether you're religious or not, this means so much more than you think.
No one realized that Pope Francis' death on Easter was no accident. The last will he left before his death revealed some chilling information.
Satan called his son home today. You know, Pope Francis being called home by Satan.
Well, there's a strange theory circulating across the internet right now. One that's got people asking serious questions about one of the most powerful religious figures in the world. According to viral TikToks, YouTubes, and cryptid Reddit posts, Pope Francis may have passed away, and the version of him we're seeing now could be a double, a deep fake, or even AI generated. Some say he was replaced quietly, without public announcement. Others claim it's part of a larger Vatican cover-up tied to global agendas, symbolism, and powerful transitions within the Catholic Church. Today, I'll be showing some of the most viewed and talked about conspiracy videos on this topic. Whether you believe in theories or not, one thing's certain: when something this massive gets picked up online, it speaks to the level of distrust people have in institutions and the hunger for hidden truth. So sit back, let's get into this together. And before we start, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. This is the Open Files. Let's go.
Something is very sinister coming to this planet, because all of a sudden, which is breaking news, and this just happened, Pope Francis has died. Apparently, he rose on a Sunday, Easter, and he died on a Monday. And he died to a severe chronic lung disease. All of a sudden, he dies after Easter. You telling me the Pope Francis, he died after Easter? He rose up on Easter and died after Easter? He died Monday morning after Sunday? Something ain't right, yo. Not to mention Donald Trump claims himself to be a prophet sent from God now. I'm telling you, something sinister and evil is about to take place in this world, man. Y'all not understanding? I'm seeing right through. Something sinister and evil is about to take over. The fucking Pope has died at 88 years old. He arose on a Sunday and then died after Easter? This is giving all types of indications of rapture. I'm telling you, the Pope is dead. Pope Francis is dead.
No one realized that Pope Francis' death on Easter was no accident. The last will he left before his death revealed some chilling information. On April 20th, Pope Francis delivered the Easter blessings to the world at St. Peter's Basilica. Surprisingly, less than a day after Francis' high-profile appearance, the Vatican announced his passing. People were reluctant to accept this tragic outcome and even suspected that it was not an accident. The will left by Francis before his death uncovered the truth. In fact, Francis had been treated in the hospital for pneumonia for several weeks. When his organs were still in a state of failure, his medical team claimed that his condition had stabilized and he could be discharged. However, Easter became Francis' last public appearance. In fact, his eyes were almost closing when he was speaking, but he had to endure it for this important festival. Perhaps Francis had already passed away on Easter Day, but the church dared not announce the news on that day, so it was announced the next day. The Pope's death has sparked intense discussions. People are speculating whether he had chosen the next successor in his will to help deal with the policies that he hadn't completed during his lifetime. Who do you think will be the next Pope?
So you've heard the prophecy about Trump being the last president, right? And you heard the prophecy about Pope Francis being the last pope? So what is up with this last president, last pope thing? I'm not one to believe in the end times, but all we hear about are prophecies about the last president, prophecies about the last pope, Armageddon, the apocalypse. Both do not mean the end of the world. They mean the beginning of the new world. So when I see different people like Saint Malachi, Nostradamus, and everybody else that is a prophet, Baba Vanga, Dolores Cannon, there is not one person that did not prophesize the Antichrist, Jesus returning. It's like the serpent that is biting its tail off. It's the end of a cycle and the beginning of a new cycle. But this is the thing. These are all different people in all different eras saying these things. Once or twice. I believe you when you say it's a coincidence. But I'm seeing dozens and dozens of patterns here. So let's talk about what's going to happen now that the Pope just passed away. The St. Malachi prophecy says that he was going to be the last Pope. It coincides with Nostradamus' prophecy about the 7 hills burning. 7 hills in the city will be destroyed. What city has 7 hills? Well, the Vatican City. If we go back in time, who's the Vatican? Who is the Catholic Church? It's the Holy Roman Empire. So the Holy Roman Empire is finally collapsing? Saint Peter, the apostle of Jesus, was the first pope. He was also crucified like Jesus, but he was crucified upside down. In fact, the upside down cross is the cross of Saint Peter. The prophecy of St. Malachi says that the last pope is Peter of Rome. This is a full circle prophecy now. He says that there will be 112 popes before the last judgment. But it doesn't mean the end of the world. It means that after the 112th pope, Pope Francis that just passed away, there's going to be a period of anarchy. And this will lead to the downfall, the demise of the Roman Catholic Church. But in reality, it's the demise of the Holy Roman Empire.
Satan called his son home today. You know, Pope Francis been called home by Satan, and Satan done called his son on home. See, God ain't in a rush to let Satan do his job. You know why? Because the children of darkness, they got a place that they got to go to. God ain't in no rush with you. You know what? You might be living to be 90 years old. The next thing you know, Satan coming to call you on home. And God will allow this because you was on earth deceiving people, committing sin, fornication, adultery. If you don't know that the Catholic Church is the mother of all false religions, then you deceived also. When you begin to say, Jesus is God, you telling a lie from the Catholic Church. You saying that Mary is God's mama. God don't have no mama. The Catholic Church is the mother of all false religions.
So apparently this guy who's known as Pope Francis just died, and I want to take this opportunity to say that this guy was a fake Christian and a false prophet who was cursed by Jesus for preaching of Roman Catholic works-based salvation, which is a false gospel. But though we or an angel from heaven preach any other gospel unto you than that which we have preached unto you, let him be accursed. So once a fake Christian like this guy gets cursed by God for preaching a satanic false gospel, that person can never be saved from hellfire. So bye-bye, sayonara, auf Wiedersehen, adios, 안녕히 가세요.
The Simpsons predicted Pope Francis's death in 2025. In a little-known episode of The Simpsons, a misplaced coffin stands at the center of St. Peter's Basilica, surrounded by silent cardinals. A Vatican flag flies at half-mast, and in the background, a giant screen displays the exact time, 11:11. Meanwhile, Kent Brockman reports on the passing of the Supreme Pontiff, stating that the official cause of death is severe bronchitis. People can't believe it. Crowds gather in St. Peter's Square, some holding candles, others praying in absolute silence. Intrigued, Lisa searches the library for information on previous popes and finds an old book with a chilling title, The End of a Cycle, 2025. As she reads, she realizes that every few decades, an unexpected event shakes the foundations of the Vatican. Could this be another case of history repeating itself? But the most unsettling part happens in the final scene. The screen shows the chimney of the Sistine Chapel releasing black smoke, a sign that there is still no successor. Suddenly, a gust of wind blows through the square, making the candles flicker, and a deep voice echoes from the TV. A new era is about to begin. Now, in real life, concerns about Pope Francis's health are growing. At 87 years old, he has faced multiple hospitalizations, and experts warn that his condition is fragile. Could The Simpsons have predicted another shocking event? Comment Pope if you wish him strength and protection. And follow me for more eerie predictions that will leave you speechless.
So we got to talk about this. So Pope Francis dies at the age of 88 from battling with double pneumonia. But hold up, this shit is a little crazy. So let's rewind. Whoop. The Pope was in the hospital for 38 days on his deathbed. Critical. It was a moment where the doctors was like, he not gonna last, he not gonna make it through the night. Now remember like it was yesterday, every news outlet was talking about Pope Francis maybe passing away that night. But miraculously, he proved them wrong by making it through the next day when people said he wouldn't. They told him he was gonna be feeling ill for a little while. They said he probably wasn't gonna be able to get up and be mobile for at least 2 months. They wanted him to rest for 2 months, y'all. But guess what? He started feeling better and he discharged. He discharged from the hospital, y'all. So he got back on his grind. He like, y'all can't stop me from God's work. So he was back at work like nothing ever happened. But here's the thing. Right before he passed, he had a meeting with JD Vance. It was a so-called private meeting. But they said they were talking about humanitarian stuff. But then boom, y'all, the next day, he's gone. They say he went peacefully. I don't know, y'all. Something don't feel right. Let's go a little deeper. Everything started to change this day. Y'all remember when he opened them holy doors? I made a couple videos on this. He opened those doors and he invited the whole world to walk in with him. But after this, let me know if I'm tripping. This is when everything went downhill, y'all. I believe he opened one of the holy doors that has never been opened or hasn't been opened in a while, a long ass time. And then all of a sudden, he started going downhill getting sick. I even heard about the Vatican vault that they got underneath of the holy door. And I was hearing little whispers like he was finna open those documents down below. I don't know if it's true, but that's what I heard. I'm hearing that shit down below is so secretive that even Pope Francis couldn't know about it. Y'all let me know if y'all heard anything about that too. This is what I want to know. If he was still so sick like they said he was, why did they let him discharge from the hospital early? I'm confused. All in all, RIP to Pope Francis, y'all. But something is not adding up.
This is massive news, guys. Pope Francis, aged 88, has literally died on Easter Monday. Now, whether you're religious or not, this means so much more than you think. Pope Francis was the first Jesuit pope from America and one of the most politically active popes in modern history. But this is where it gets interesting. According to an old prophecy called the Prophecy of the Popes that was published in 1595, Pope Francis was known as the last pope of the world. Written in the 12th century, it literally predicts that the last pope will lead the church through a time of great chaos. And after him, destruction will come. Now, I'm not saying that it's all written in stone, but I am saying that this timing is very strange. The church is under pressure, faith is collapsing. Pay close attention to what happens next, because if the last pope really did just leave us, then we're stepping into a whole new chapter of life. And don't forget, beautiful people, that the system literally demonetizes and silences anyone that speaks the truth. We struggle to get paid for our content, but you have the power to help us get paid by fully engaging on this video. Like it, share it, repost it, and watch this video fully to the end. That way, they have no choice but to pay us for our content. Obviously, this was all just for entertainment. I love you, beautiful people, and I'm as fictional as a dinosaur, baby.
You can't tell me the Pope actually passed away on Easter Monday, because for me, I feel like that is the biggest crock of shit I've ever heard in my whole entire life. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's sad that he's passed, but I don't believe for a second that he passed on Easter Monday. I mean, why? Why? To make it sound more plausible. A bit like fucking Katy Perry going to fucking space, innit? It was actually written somewhere biblically that he would be the very last pope. So let's watch this space. It was also said that he and his passing would create a situation where the world would change. So, is this part of a strategic plan, or have things played out as they should play out? I don't know. I don't really believe it. But those are my opinions, and my opinions only. What do you guys think? And of course, this is all for entertainment purposes. Of course, he died and he passed away on Easter Monday.
Pope Francis, why did you leave us? What did you see? And why didn't you tell us? Right here, I know that you saw something. I know that you felt something. And you said, absolutely not. I'm out of here. Jesus may have risen, but I will not. And you see right here, the man in the middle was actively trying to do an exorcism right at this moment. He saw whatever was in this racist Care Bear spirit leaped into Pope Francis and got him up out of here. That's what I believe. This is what is happening right now. And it was at this moment that he said, you know what? I know that this man is about to bust hell wide open and he's trying to take the rest of us with him. And I'm not going. As a matter of fact, I'm going to tell Sky Daddy and JC that they going to have to deal with you. I can't do it, but I don't want to be here to find out what's happening.
What the Vatican doesn't want you to know just happened, and no one is talking about it the right way. On Easter Monday, April 21st, 2025, the world lost Pope Francis. He passed away at age 88, inside the Santa Marta residence, his home in the Vatican. But this wasn't just a death. It was the beginning of a storm. Pope Francis wasn't an ordinary religious leader. He challenged politicians, exposed scandals within the church, and made powerful enemies. In his final days, insiders say he was about to reveal something explosive about how the Vatican really works. Something that wasn't supposed to get out. And then, just when it seemed like everything was about to be exposed, he died. Officially, they said it was natural causes. But here's what doesn't make sense. The Vatican delayed the announcement for hours, and reports claim the Pope was in stable health the day before. Even more suspicious? Documents, recordings, and even personal messages from his quarters have mysteriously disappeared in the last 48 hours. So, what was hidden? And who had something to gain by silencing him? If you want to know what they found in his room, comment part 2 below. But get ready. This might change everything you think you know about the church.
No wonder Pope Francis's final words suggest his sudden death was anything but accidental. Few realize there are 3 major conspiracies hiding behind it. First, his last words shocked the world. Forgive those who have hurt me, for the truth will come to light. This wasn't a typical act of repentance. It sounded more like an accusation against a hidden force. In the months before his death, he repeatedly spoke about corruption within the church, sparking growing suspicion. Second, the timing of his death was too convenient. He had just announced an investigation into decades of shady financial dealings inside the Vatican and was preparing to expose a list of high-ranking officials. Less than a week later, he suddenly fell ill. The official report was vague. Complications, deterioration, unsuccessful resuscitation, yet no medical records were released. Lastly, his reforms faced massive resistance. Pope Francis had ordered the liquidation of a mysterious fund, but was blocked by several powerful cardinals. He tried to dismantle the traditional power structure and limit the influence of conservatives. His death brought that entire struggle to an abrupt end. The very people he stood against, they're now back in control. This isn't a coincidence, it's a warning. What do you think is really going on?
The Pope passed away today at 88 years old on his personal 8th day. To be even more specific, personal 17th day, and he's also born on December 17th. I don't know the exact passing time, but given the astrology and the experience I have with this, I can say that it was most likely between 2:30 and 3 a.m. local time in Rome. We knew the Pope was having a tough time because he's currently in his Saturn return in Pisces down here. And this has been going on for a couple of years, and it's in Pisces. So we know it deals with hospitals. We know it deals with health type of issues. A Saturn return by itself does not indicate a passing. There are several indicators. One of them would be his lunar return that was about to happen, which was also currently he also has a sun square right here, Taurus sun at 1 degree squaring his natal moon, and also Mars up here at 1 degrees opposing his natal moon. And when it comes to passing, the main planets I always look out for are Neptune, because it deals with endings, it deals with letting go, and Pluto. The moon transit of this morning was actually opposing his natal Pluto in Cancer in retrograde, and was semi-sextiling Neptune as well. Now, my theory is that it happened while the moon was in a separating aspect from Pluto and in an applying aspect to Neptune. Now, we should definitely not neglect that Saturn was squaring his sun and squaring the nodes. So this is again something that is going to, and was during this time, really, really restricting his vitality, his sun. But another major indicator, and a lot of people think Jupiter is a great benefic, but when it amplifies his natal Chiron, when it expands his natal Chiron, and that usually means there is a big issue coming up, and in this case it was his passing. Especially because this Jupiter here was also squaring his natal Neptune in Virgo, and we know Neptune in Virgo can usually means health issues, right? Usually means weird type of health problems, because Virgo deals with health, and Neptune there usually brings all this disillusion and this type of hospitals and behind the scenes type of energy there.
Aw, the Pope died. You know what this really means, don't you? It means that Welsh actor Jonathan Pryce got sick of playing the role, and he's going to take on a new role. Don't believe me? Well, here's a clip from a video I did months ago. There's Jonathan Pryce and there's the Pope, and here's a side-by-side where they are perfectly symmetrical. But the beautiful thing about this video, it was before I started looking for my smoking guns. So guess what I found? But before we get to those smoking guns, why don't I show you a little TV clip from these guys? You know how they like to tell us the truth. Right in plain sight, right? Well, here's that TV clip. Just to mock us like they always do.
Congratulations, you just got nominated for a Golden Globe for your performance as Francis in the two popes. It's fantastic. Now, was it fated? Was it just destiny that you would play this part eventually? Because even before this movie existed, everyone said you look like Francis, or Francis looked like you.
Yeah, he looked like me.
First.
Yeah,
you were famous first.
Yeah.
Because here's you, in case people don't know what you look like from seeing you there. And here's Francis. Come on.
Come on, people.
No.
Come
Obviously, you moisturize and he doesn't, you know. But
No, it's a big surprise, because that's not who I see when I look in the mirror.
Oh, really?
No, I'm more Brad Pitt in the mirror. Yeah.
Sure.
Funny how, of all people, they mentioned Brad Pitt. More truth right in plain sight. This was literally the easiest smoking gun I have ever found, because it's just him in a fat suit. And look at this, like, they don't even disguise his face. It's literally just him with, like, fatness. And look at this here. I'm gonna circle it. The exact same blemishes on both of their faces. Exact same. In their exact same nose. They don't even change his nose. Jonathan Pryce in the dead Pope. I mean, people just go type in Jonathan Pryce looks like the Pope, and this is how dumb they know we are, because we are this dumb, because all of us fall for this. I know I fell for it at one point, but once you wake up, you see they're the same person. It's time to wake up. But you guys know I'm just kidding. I know that poor Pope Francis lost his life yesterday. Tear, and it's just a coincidence that they have the exact same symmetrical face and the exact same blemishes and look identical. I'm a satire account. This was all for entertainment purposes. I am just joking. This was my opinion. Entertainment only, people.
All right, after watching all of that, where do you stand? Are these just internet rabbit holes gone too far? Or is there a deeper story being kept under wraps? It's easy to dismiss these ideas, but the fact they gain so much traction says something about how people really feel about transparency, religion, and global power. Whether Pope Francis is alive, replaced, or the subject of digital manipulation, it's a conversation that sparks more questions than answers. I'd really like to know your thoughts on this, people. So drop your comments below. Is this just viral noise, or do you believe there's something to this theory? If you're into deep dives like this, hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on your notification bells because the internet never stops dropping theories, and I'll be here to break them down. I'll see you on the next one. It's the Open Files. Peace.